Hi, I'm Susan from Sunrise Quilt Studio, and today I wanted to show you some more border ideas. This is my second sampler of borders that I created a couple years ago, and thought I would share some of these borders with you too. Now the first one up here is a swag, and this one I did freehand, but you can use templates if you want, but they're just arcs going across, and I made this a triple swag. So you just get to the end and come back, and you just need to mark these on your the spacing on your quilt so that you hit the same points as close as you can get, and just go on across like that. Now the second border is scallops, but we're going to put something in the open space here underneath the scallop, so you need to leave you some space from this scallop to there, and then we're going to come around and just put a loop in there. Loops are great for taking up space and adding a little more interest to your quilt. Now this next one is some triangles and hearts and loops, and we're going to start first with our triangles. Make a heart, complete the triangle, come down, heart, up, down, heart, and just do this all the way across. And this goes fairly fast. If you're using a ruler to make your angles, that'll slow you down a little bit, but it won't be too bad. And then come in the opposite direction and do the loops. Now this design here is just loops, and I showed you one like this on a smaller border, on a 1-inch border, but you can make this work on a larger border too if you want, and just alternate your loop up and down. And then here's a deeper loop, alternating it. Okay, now we're going to alternate the hearts. Just point them down and just do them as a loop. You don't have to come to a point, just keep going around. And I am doing the right side and then the left side, and just alternate them. Okay, this one is some more diagonal lines with a continuous curve, or the arcs. And then I came back, put in a loop, and then I felt it needed something on the top, so I just put a loop in here. And you can do anything you want to in it. You can put your little flower in there, you can put a swirl, anything that you like can go in there. This design is another similar design. Come back with the continuous curve, and then I just came back with an additional curve or arc down here, and then fill the top with a loop. And this one is the same with the diagonal lines and the continuous curve, and then I did the continuous curve on the top. Okay, this one is kind of reminiscent of the coffee bean, only this time I did the kind of the leaf petals on here. So it brings you right back to your starting point, so they can just keep continuing on. Okay, this design here would look good on a modern quilt or a Southwest quilt, or a child's quilt, a man's quilt. These are just diagonal lines, and you come backtrack and then you go down. Very easy to do, and you don't need to use a ruler if you are confident with getting your diagonals, you want these diagonals to be parallel to each other. Next one is doing an arc, a little arc back, another arc and back. So it's just like a little petal of some kind. And on this one, these are about 1 inch apart. So you would mark your quilt 1 inch apart for those. Here they're further apart. So if you want them, you can make them further apart. They don't have to be that close. Like that. And we've done ribbon candy. And this is the eyelet design that we did before. It's just in a bigger setting. It's in a bigger border. It's a 2-inch border as opposed to 1 inch. And then this following one is another coffee bean type design. This one we're going to come up and do a loop, come down and do our stem, do another loop, and these loops are pointing to the inside towards the spine of this design. And of course you can always do your spine first, do your loop, and come around and do your second loop. Whatever is most comfortable for you. Now this next design is a loop, come up and do a diagonal line, another loop. And you can, it's pretty obvious that I did my loops first on this one, but you could go down and do your diagonal, do a loop and a second loop, diagonal, and then do your loops. Now this design I've seen before. I don't know what the name of it is, but it looks like just backwards E's to me. We're just going to go, you want 2 loops up, 2 loops down, and then come over and do 2 loops to the side, come around, 2 loops up, and then 2 loops over. And this one goes fairly fast. Okay, these designs are all related. One came after the other as I was working. Started with an arc, and then did a petal shape, another arc, and a petal shape, another arc, all the way across, and then I came back with a loop. And this one I did the diagonal lines, the triangular shape, and then the petal all the way across, and then came back and filled it in with a loop. This one is the same as these two, except, or the same as this one, except when I came back with a continuous curve. Like that. Okay, this design came off of this one, so instead of the loop, I just did a triangular shape with the next one and put a little arc at the top of those. Then came back and did the continuous curve. This one I kind of alternated kind of a triangular shape with an arc, triangular shape, and an arc, and then it came back, one triangular shape, and then a loop, triangular shape, and a loop. Then when I came back, I did continuous curve. So 3 passes on this one, and the way this one is marked is still 2 inches apart, as I showed you on my last video on borders, like that. But I made one motif in the 2-inch mark, and I spread this one out into 4 inches. Okay, this is a simple design, but it's very effective. Just an arc and a teardrop, and an arc and a teardrop. And this one is similar to the one we did at the beginning. It has the scallops. So we're going to come in and do a row or do a scallop and do a teardrop, another teardrop in it, scallop, double teardrop, scallop, double teardrop, and then come back and do your final scallop, like that one. And this design is more of a Fleur-De-Lis type design. And I wanted to make a row of Fleur-De-Lis, but I wound up with too much space between them, so I decided to just put a loop in there as I went from one to the next. And they wound up looking more like just like a plant as opposed to a Fleur-De-Lis. And then this next design we have is this one is done with doing a row of arcs going across, and then we come back to make those circles like we did in our last video, and then coming in and doing a swirl and just going from one circle to the next. And my last two designs, this one here is a large loop with a circle inside, come down and then alternate. And then this design here, I'm going to start again with our triangle shapes. Come back and do a swirl and just carry it on to your next triangle. And then when you get to the end, you're going to come back and you can do your continuous curve or your arcs across those triangles there. And there you have it. Now this last one, there is a smaller border under here. This is a bracket, and you may have seen that. That seems to have been popular over the last several years. Just make a bracket like you learned how to do in school. This is a big long bracket though. And then I just decided to double it up to give it more interest. So this would be really good for small borders. This is a 1-inch border, and that would give you a bracket design. So here we go, some more ideas for borders and sashes. I hope you found something interesting in here.
Thanks for watching. For more quilting ideas, click on the video links. And to keep up with my newest projects, click on the subscribe button. I hope to see you again soon.